We have a multi-million-dollar construction site that has just been shut down, waiting for us. Seems the work crew out there turned over more than just dirt. Specifically, human remains. The bones may be ancient, making this a historic site. Or if not so ancient, a murder. Either way, we need to dig up the truth.
Hey, Sarah. You're the new recruit tearing up the place, huh? Well, if what we have is old bones, we'll just have to be advisors. What do you say we head to the dig site and get our hands dirty? I've already made a quick background check of the history. There have been a few archaeological finds west and south of the site, southern Paiute Indians. We'll have to identify this as either a potential crime scene or a possible ancient burial ground.
I am Elliot Lansdowne, and I don't appreciate this inconvenience. You people are holding up construction and costing me dearly, every second. As a taxpayer, in all due respect, I'm asking you to move this along quickly, so my men can get back to it. Just over 2 years, but I've been buying up land for 15. It was obvious the city would keep growing, including in this direction. In the land development business, 2 years isn't long at all. Especially when you have to assemble enough parcels to build a casino this size. Anyway, putting together 250 mil of other people's money isn't an overnight affair. I put on my share of dog and pony shows to raise that kind of capital. I went through a broker to acquire most of the parcels that make up this site. The owner of this one? Never had contact. Mine is a speculative business. Informed speculation, but speculation just the same. I buy from intermediaries who link buyers with sellers. And some of the people I deal with, frankly, are flim-flam artists who've latched onto worthless land to con commissions out of greedy, stupid buyers. But someone like me can take advantage of their shady nature and pick up diamonds in the rough. Like this parcel. Only the backhoe crew are an experienced bunch, and knew enough not to touch a thing. Second we uncovered the bones, the operator shut down and brought me in. I knew damn well we needed to call you people in. But what bothers me... See, we got a couple of Native Americans on our crew. Good men, hard workers, but they've been spouting off about ancient burial grounds, and... Now I'm worried. Maybe this wasn't a diamond in the rough after all. More like a pig in a poke. Knock yourself out. Just do it fast, okay? I understand I got no choice in this. My land, but I got no say. Great. Just swell. So the sooner you people can deal with our skeletal friend, the sooner I can start putting this casino up. Remains were found over by that dig hole.
That's all we need right now. Here's the bones of contention. We'll need to make sure we carefully remove any dirt from these remains. Unfortunately, that backhoe appears to have done some damage unearthing our friend. But it's clearly a skull. Note the nick around the eye socket. Tiny broken glass fragments. Hey, don't assume that makes this a modern corpse. The Paiute dabbled in colored glass beads. But this fragment, it looks clear, so perhaps it is modern. Lot of damage, too bad. 'Cause it may screw up checking dental records. I don't see any obvious dental work. Part of an arm, right down to the hearty handshake. The soil looks a bit darker here, doesn't it? A bird's nest. We probably shouldn't disturb it unless we have a reason to. Bad karma. Tire impression in the dried mud. I don't think the Paiute left this, though, judging by the treads around edges, it's been here a while. A couple of years, maybe. Not my area of expertise, but could be an artifact. You know, more tribes than just the Paiute populated this region.
Nothing else for you right now.
What's up? I had a comprehensive soil analysis run on the sample. The report found that based on the calcium, magnesium, and chloride levels, the soil immediately around the body was turned recently, relatively speaking. Best guess is between 1.5 and 2.3 years. At no added cost to you, I also had the electrolyte levels checked to see if our decomposing victim gave off any clues while taking the dust-to-dust trip. Came back clean, suggesting the victim was otherwise healthy at the time of death, except for the dying part.
So, we've got an approximate time for when the body was buried. 2 years. Doesn't confirm the age of the victim, but it's a start. A good one. Thanks, Greg.
That tire tread is now on the computer for you. Such a small piece of glass, I can't really tell you much. Maybe the microscope will give you more than I can. It's chert, a hard, brittle form of silica. These sharp edges and points are likely man-made, though. If this is an arrowhead, you're looking at a historic site, no matter what else you might find out there.
Then we should bring in an archaeologist, for the site's sake, if not the Vic's. Still, learning about that patch of desert might help us reinterpret our evidence. Hey, I've seen this before. It's from a contemporary eyeglass lens, a fragment of crown glass. Pattern of curvature indicates the owner had hyperopia, farsightedness, and used progressive bifocals. I'd estimate the spherical number at around 2.35 diopters. Definitely prescription, since grocery store reading glasses always come in 0.25 increments. Tread's too weathered for a definitive match to anything in the database. Best we'll get is a comparative match to another tread based on the predominant features of this one.
What's up?
Apart from the construction itself, nothing. But I can tell you the press is all over this mess. Nothing like some rolling bones to spark the media's imagination. That new casino has been hyped to the hilt, and that makes this little story way too big for my taste. Play your cards close to the vest on this one. I can make that happen. I'll just call the university, have them send somebody over to the site. Can't promise how fast, though. Not like these profs are sitting around waiting for our call.
Something you want? Sure, I'll send a team out to retrieve it. All this blunt impact damage to the facial area, accompanied by some damage sustained to the cranial cavity, likely shutting down brain function almost immediately. We're talking blows to the face and head with a slim but heavy object. Repeated blows. In this state of damage, it's difficult to determine precisely, but an educated guess, based on the facial bone structure, makes it a human male, early 40s possibly. From remains like these with no other evidence available, difficult to impossible. Haven't finished my entire analysis, but the Vic's in an advanced state of decomposition, ruling out most tests I could run. Puts the time well beyond a few months, but it could be longer, possibly much longer. Well, mitochondrial DNA for sure. Keeping a database of DNA records is a fairly recent practice, depending on how long ago the victim lived and whether or not there'd been a reason to have his or her DNA cataloged. It may or may not be useful to you. Superficially, no, but the skull had a tiny hairline fracture on the occipital bone, which healed many years before death. Childhood injury or accident, maybe. I took a head x-ray. Sinus cavities are as unique as fingerprints. Some medical offices have been putting their archived x-ray records on an image-searchable database. If your victim is contemporary, you may be able to cross-reference it and maybe get an identity. Sinus cavities somewhat damaged, possibly from the weight of the backhoe. Damage to the mouth area was too severe. I looked for signs of dental work unsuccessfully. You know, some dentists have started embedding ID tags and chips within porcelain caps and fillings just for situations like these.
Did our Vic have an ID like that?
Not Sarah. I just mention it as a point of interest. Well, it's a fairly narrow nick with a slight curvature. Wire-framed glasses? Not unlikely.
Let's say our Vic had his glasses on when he was struck in the face, shattering the glass and embedding it in the tissue. Killer tries to clean it off, but some pieces were just too deeply embedded. We have a violent homicide here, possibly a spontaneous one reflecting anger and/or passion.
You got it.
Yes? I amplified and graphed that DNA of yours, scanned it into the computer. It's a fiber of some sort. Definitely modern, some kind of synthetic. I'll prepare for the microscope. Being here to serve, I scanned the sinus x-ray into the computer, but that cranial cavity damage may make it tough to find a perfect match. Still, I've set up a simple search on the computer to compare the sinus X-ray to others on file for missing persons.
Looks as if our victim snagged a little fiber underneath his fingernail. In defense or desperation? Brown, quite thick, heavy cloth, like a covering or carpet. Think any of these are a match? I'm not too sure. And jackpot. A positive ID on our victim, Freddie Sloan. He was in on some shady deals. Maybe running with the kind of people who would bury you in the desert.
Need something? Hey, remember I told you this case was on the media's radar? Word's out, it's a modern-day Vic. Cranks are coming out of the woodwork, too. We just got a call from... Ready for this? Madame Lazora, some self-professed psychic, claims to be having visions about your pile of bones when it was still up walking around in a flesh suit. Says his name was Fast Eddie.
Captain, that's really close to one of our Vic's AKAs, Fast Freddy.
Maybe you want to check out this medium at large, then. If you can get onto her dance card between the local radio and TV interviews she's granting, that is. Her parlor is near the southern end of the strip. Ran a background check already just to satisfy my curiosity. Came up empty. That I can manage easy enough. Looks like the same owner last couple of years. Our friend Lansdowne. Before that, one Adam Kilbourne. Sold the land through a broker for a hefty amount. Might be worth talking to Kilbourne, see if he remembers anything odd that may have gone down on that property. Mr. Kilbourne resides in... Well, this is interesting for a guy who made a small bundle selling that piece of property a few years ago. Lives in a public housing complex. Vista Court, Unit 203.
Ah, I knew you were coming. My name is Madame Stella Lazora, and you must be the investigators.
We're with the police, that is the crime lab. We're working the site where the body was found, and if the media is to be believed, we understand you may have some insights to share.
I sense a certain skepticism, young lady. I take no offense. You are a woman of science, and whereas I am of the metaphysical, each, in its way, is a noble calling. Let us attempt to bridge those worlds. It is not so much a matter of knowing, but sensing. We do not control those on the other side. In the midst of a session with a client, seeking answers about a crossed-over loved one, a seemingly unrelated vision seized my consciousness. I saw a name. Eddie. Carved in flowing letters.
Is that right?
Yes. Then another. A variation. Fast Eddie. And then images. An eagle soaring. But then that eagle fell to earth, dying in the snow, with only the cold and pain to keep him company. And then this vision blurred, and another took form. A word carved delicately, as if in soapstone. Sloan. We encounter souls on many planes, from this physical world to the astral. But can we really say we know them? As I have said, I do not control the other side. I am but their conduit. If they wish to speak through me, they do. If they wish to instruct me, they do so. Often through visions which require interpretation. By victim, I believe you speak of Edward Sloan. More than this I cannot, at this time, say. This material world interests me not. Do what you like. I ask only that my belongings are left undisturbed, as they've been arranged precisely to help focus my psychic energies.
That's all we need right now. Crystal ball. Whoa, what's that? You see it? Just kidding, yeah. There's nothing there. Lighter fluid. Can't imagine lighting her candles and incense requires this much stuff. A loose thread from the carpet.
The crystal is murky. Try again later.
Hey. Fiber sample. I've prepped it for the microscope.